because all of our behaviors don't come just out of the blue. They come because of our thinking.
Yeah.
And I had to learn from the Lord, Lord, how do you see these people? Because I cannot lead people that I don't love. It's very hard to lead people that you don't love. And if you could lead them, but you're probably not going to lead them well. So I had to ask and allow God to help me see people how he saw them.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another exciting episode of Still Figuring It Out. And we're a podcast here who is for people who are done pretending that they have it figured out because they don't. And I don't either, and we don't like to pretend that we do. And so we're here just having real conversations about faith, about what it means, what it truly means to follow Jesus when there's no script. Because plot twist, there is no script. And I don't really use a script either. I have this, but it's more just to make me look cool. So yeah, I even scribble notes, but I'm usually drawing pictures. Not really. No, I'm super excited today. I'm bummed. We're bummed because Sarah's not here.
Yes,
Sarah Nelson is normally here. Yeah, so was I. But she's not here. If you see Sarah, ask her how her cats are, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, I'm joined by Ivelice English now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very excited about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, Eve recently got married 3 weeks ago, you said?
Yeah, June 20th. That's, almost a month.
Oh,
but yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So congrats.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, we're here today and we're just going to chat about your life, really, because we're in this series called, we're calling One Church. That is kind of an extension of the One Church stuff that we've been doing between all of our churches.
We love it.
But we have been talking to different ministry friends and ministry partners and just hearing, what's your story? What has God done in your life? And it's been a lot of fun. And I think what Sarah and I have really found is that God is, it's kind of obvious, but sometimes we forget that God is at work in our community and in other people. And other people are just a whole nother universe that God is doing amazing things in. And sometimes we just don't know because we don't hear it. So
yeah, that's fair.
we're branching out and talking to people. And so today we get to talk to Eve.
Excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so I know you fairly well because we've done quite a few ministry things together.
We have.
And if anybody attends North County Christ the King, or if you've been to Collide or the One Church Worship Nights, you probably recognize Eve. But why don't you give just a little background on who you are, what you do, and yeah.
Yes, you got it. Yes. So my name is Ivelice. Yes. So I'm originally from Venezuela. That's one of the first things I have to say because you will notice that I have an accent. I tell people it takes such a long time to really nail a new language. And so we speak Spanish primarily. And I've been in the US now 11 years. And I feel like I'm still learning so much. So I'll try to speak slow because that's my tendency. Even my parents will be like, honey, I didn't understand anything of what you just said. So I have to make sure that I slow down. But I'm from Venezuela. My family and I moved to the U.S. 11 years ago now. Honestly, we're having an amazing life in our country. I love my country. If you've ever been, you know that it is beautiful. There are so many different, our country is very small. It's probably the size of, even smaller than Washington, I will say.
Oh, really?
But there are so many different weathers in different states. So you can go to a state of the country and it's snow very often. Another different state, there is thunderstorms almost the whole year. Another state is super hot. It's so crazy how there is so much variety in such a small place. But it's a beautiful country. We love community. Something that characterizes Hispanic culture is we are big about community. That's is a priority, and everything revolves around it, community, family time, hanging out with your friends. And so love my life in our country. And it wasn't until my dad at some point started just to sense that there was something new coming for our family. I remember in that season, my dad, I saw him a lot, meditating and thinking a lot. That's also when hard things started to happen in our country economically with the government. But it wasn't I wouldn't say it wasn't super bad it is now or how it has become.
Yeah.
But at the time, you could still see a little bit of that, but it wasn't really as bad as it is right now. So things were very stable in some way with some minor problems here and there, no electricity for a long time, or hard to find simple things like milk or toilet paper. But it's still nothing that was at least to me, was oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I saw my dad meditating a lot, more than I've ever saw him meditate before. But I remember every time I heard him share, he would just say I just sense something is coming for our family, but I'm not sure what it is yet. And one point, he's having a conversation with my aunt who's been living here in Washington State for longer than 20 years now. And she's the one that offered you should come to the US one time, like, check it out, like, see how you like it here. My dad was like, what? No. Like, we love our country, our family's here, our church is here, my work is here. No, it's okay. But I think that conversation, like, started something for my dad where he actually started to bring that to God and be like, Lord, could it be? Like, would this be a thing? And then he was like, no, it's okay. Because it takes a long time to get like visa approval in our country. It's a whole process. But slowly we started to have people and messages and so many things that I could take a whole day talking about happening in our family that made it so evident that this is where the Lord was leading us. So I feel like my faith really grew in that season, and I got to see my parents' faith just grow as well in ways that I would have not seen otherwise. Because we were at the embassy of the US and a family that was right in front of us just got told visa denied. And so we were ready, like, oh, we're just trying this out. So it might happen, might not happen. But as soon as we got there, normally they ask you for all your paperwork to check just what you do, who you are. And when we got there, the guy looks at us and he says, I don't need to see your paper. Just tell me about you. And we were like, all right, sounds good. So we kind of told him a little bit about us. And then he said, okay, your visa is approved.
Wow.
And that moment just felt so clear for us that, okay, we're doing this. And so anyways, moved to the US. I was studying chemical engineering in my country. I was already in my third year of college, while also at the same time, I was studying at another college, physics. I got assigned to that class, to that career. I really wanted medicine, but it's very complicated sometimes to get assigned to the career that you want in our country.
So assigned, are you told what to study there?
You select like three things that you would like to apply for, and I
Oh,
think I said like
interesting.
nursing. I think I said chemistry and medicine.
Okay.
But this college is like the best college in our country, and so I was assigned, but not to any of those three, but to physics. What my process or my plan was at the time was, if you do 2 years of that career, then you can transfer. And so I thought to myself, I got this. I can just get through like 2 years of physics. I have no idea. I don't even like math like that. But I'll do it. I'll do 2 years and then I'll transfer to nursing before medicine, because you do have to go, like, you cannot just go immediately to medicine.
Okay.
You'll have
Yeah.
to go to nursing. And so I was like, I'll do that. It's okay. So, but my uncle offered to pay for this different college and pay for chemical engineering. And I was like, you know what? I can do both. It's okay. And so that's what I was doing at the time. And so imagine like me going from like, oh, I have a plan, I know what's coming for me, to then moving to a country where I knew college was not going to be a plan A, mainly because it's very expensive. Here in the US, colleges are very expensive.
Indeed, they are.
And also, like, the first few years, there is no way you can move from a different country and the priority be, oh, now go to college. No, the priority becomes, let's find a stability. We don't know anybody here. We didn't know the language. I have to find a home. Like, your life just changes completely outside of like even what you're experiencing externally. There is so much happening internally that you're now having to work through with. And so I studied English for 2 years in my country. That's a whole nother story. Of like how God provided. My parents were always like, I would love for you to learn a new language. I think this is good for you. My brother was never like a school person, but I was always very dedicated. So my parents were like, let's just take advantage of this. Yeah, you still can go to school, and also we're gonna pay a private school so you can learn English. And so I did that for around 2 years, and then was blessed to come to the US for a few weeks with a program that I was selected for. And so when I moved here, I thought, oh, I know English. Like, I got this. And then I realized I know nothing. Because when you get taught a language, and if you've learned Spanish in college, or school, it's true. Like, you are being taught a few things. And when you go out to, like, when you go to Mexico or like Costa Rica or any other country, you realize these people talk so fast.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when you are being taught the language, they're not talking to you like the
It's
people really talk to you.
slow.
They
Yeah.
try to go slow so you can hear the words, and also there is a different accent. So when I moved here, I remember the first time I was working at Kohl. That was my first job.
Okay.
I was doing maintenance, and people will ask me like, "Where's the restroom?" And it sounds very simple to me now, but at the time I was like, "What?" And so they will ask me again, where is the restroom? And then I realized, oh, I know what they're asking, but I've never learned how to give directions.
Funny.
So I will just look at the person and say, come here. And I will just have them follow me, and I will walk them to the restroom. And so at one point, I started to pay a little closer attention when they will ask somebody else, and I will hear them how they will say, if you go all the way straight, turn right. And I started practicing those things. And so I started to just pay attention a little more. But honestly, that started like a whole set of questions and figuring out in my life and my family. Also, when you come from a country where everything revolves around community, family, friends, your church, and then you go into a place where everything has a schedule, very like what psychology calls monochronic culture, where like here in the US, everything is measured by time.
Yeah.
Our country is more like polychronic culture, which means we measure everything by quality. So
Interesting.
if I come visit you and I show up to your place, hey Joel, I wanted to hang out with you. You're like, okay, sounds good. For you, you are like, well, my life is very planned, and you're like, I have an hour before I have my next thing. For me, it's more about like, why are you even looking at the time? Let's just have a good time. If it takes 3 hours, great. If it takes
We have to
30
get the thing
minutes,
done.
yeah, if it takes 30 minutes, great. So in our
Interesting.
culture, everything is about, you are not calculating your time much. You are just measuring by the quality of time. And
Was
so,
that sounds like that would be really difficult
oh
to
my gosh.
get used to.
Yes, so hard.
That would be
And so,
anxiety inducing.
yes. And so like I will ask people when I started to go to CTK Bellingham, it was because I had to work on Sundays. And it was the only church that was closest to me. If you go to CTK Bellingham, it's very close to Kohl's.
It's like across the street. Yeah.
Yes, and so my aunt and my uncle have been going there for a while, so they asked us to come. And my parents already found a church that was Spanish speaking,
Okay. Yeah.
and so they ended up going there. And I thought to myself, well, CTK Bellingham was very different than my church in our country. And the first time I went, I didn't like it. And so I was like, okay, either I just don't go to church because there is no way I can make it happen on a Sunday because I had to work, or I can still try to come to CTK Bellingham during my lunch hour. So I told myself, I'll rather go to church and just see what happens and show up than not showing up at all. And so I told myself, let's just do this. So I started going every Sunday and started to meet people. But that's when I learned like the difference of like this different schedule, time,
Okay.
management life. Because I would tell people, oh, let's hang out tomorrow. And they'll be like, oh, let me check my calendar. I can do next Tuesday at 2 or 4 p.m. And I'll be like, oh my, this is weird. I was just like, this is so weird. Why do we have to wait so long?
Are you a robot?
Yeah, I was like, why do we have to wait so long? So, like I said, I started learning so many different things. As we know, culture people are very affectionate. The way you say hi to people is you give them a hug and like a kiss on the cheek. And so both men and women. And so
you get arrested here for that.
that's right. And so I was like, I cannot. Yeah, I learned, but nobody told me that, so I had to learn that on my own. When I went to
funny.
the first time I met somebody, second day I was gonna immediately give them a hug, and they were like, oh, like I could tell I could tell they were caught off guard.
Yeah.
And so
That's
those
funny.
are some of the small things that I had to teach my brain.
So why did you stick with CTK? Was it purely out
Yes.
of proximity because it was close?
At the time, yes,
Because there was the boundary for language already for you there.
That's right. Yeah. So I just honestly, there are times that worship will start, and I understand. Like I remember the first song that they were singing when I was there was "This Is Amazing Grace." Is it so very old? But at the time, I think it was very popular. There was Oceans as well. You call me out upon the waters. So I remember I wasn't sure what, but I was trying to follow along. But honestly, this is how I was raised. Like I was raised, we worship God, not because we feel it, but because of what we know about Him. So whether I understand the language or not, I'm still gonna worship Him because of what I know of Him.
Yeah.
So I might understand nothing of what you're singing. I can clearly see this is a worship moment, so I'm still gonna worship.
Yeah.
So I'll just find my own way to be like, Lord, thank you that I'm here. Lord, I don't understand. Like this is so weird. Or like, oh, what are they doing? So I think it also like taught me new ways to worship God. But it was at the beginning, it was just because of proximity. But I realized just so you guys know, the majority of books of the Bible, they are very similar to how they are said in Spanish. So like Genesis in Spanish, Génesis. Deuteronomy in Spanish, Deuteronomios.
Oh, interesting.
Exodus, Éxodo. So they are all very like similar.
Yeah.
But the one that's not similar at all is Revelation. In Spanish is Apocalipsis.
Okay.
So very different.
Yeah.
And so when I was at TK, I remember they were in this series of Revelation. But because it was so unfamiliar, I thought they had their own Bible.
Funny.
So I thought, this church, are they preaching their own? Like, do they have like their own Bible? Or like, what is that? So I thought that also was hard for me. I was like, it took me a little bit to realize, oh no, that's a book of the Bible. No, that's it. Like, this is just the one that is said completely different, like spelled completely different.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny too, because the word apocalypse is like in North American or in like Western culture, it's so like thematic or cinematic, right?
Yes,
that's what
right.
movies are built around, like the apocalypse.
That's right. Yes, that's right. And so at first I was, figuring out all these things, but I kept showing up. But in that showing up, I got to meet people. I will say maybe like by almost month 3 of being there, my aunt told me, hey, like you've been here for a bit. Like, do you want me to introduce you to the worship leader? And I'll tell him that you have done worship in your church in Venezuela. And I said, no, please no. My aunt was like, come on, like, that's the thing about Venezuelan people too. We're very persistent when we want something. So she kept asking like, Eve, like, I would love, and I'll be like, Tia, no. Tia's how you say aunt in Spanish. I was like, no, no.
That one I know. I know that
Oh,
much
there you go.
Spanish. Yeah.
And then one day she introduced me to the worship leader. It was Ryan Spiker at the time, I remember. And so
Oh,
I met him. Awesome, amazing person. And I remember like maybe like 2-3 weeks later, after we exchanged emails and all that, I haven't heard anything, and I didn't care. But my aunt asked me, hey, have you heard anything? And I said, no, not yet. 2 days later, the worship assistant from the church texted me saying, hey, Eve, got your phone number. Your aunt stopped by the church. And I was
she
like,
did
oh,
not take no, did she?
yes. I stopped by the church. I'm so sorry we haven't been able to reach out to you. Would you like to come tomorrow for an audition? And I was like, oh my. And I said, all right. So that's kind of, so, I first started showing up, not understanding, processing many things. But then as I got to meet people slowly, like I honestly ended up just falling in love with the community.
Yeah.
And that's what has kept me there. So
That's awesome. And you talk about community a lot and with your culture as well.
yeah.
Like I would affirm that because one of the other ways that we're connected through it is Mike Black, who
Yes.
plays pickleball with
Yes, he
you. So
does.
you have like a fairly good group of your worship team that
Yes.
does pickleball every Friday?
Well, we've
Or
tried
Mike just
we
plays?
no, he plays every Friday. We've
Yeah.
tried to play like as often as we can as a team. There's a few of us that we play like more often.
Okay.
But with the whole worship team, we try to do at least something like quarterly or like twice a year where we like all play together. But yeah, like I always try to find things like what's something that we can do outside of a Sunday morning that it still brings us together.
That's so good.
Because yeah, we get to know each other when we play instruments in a way, but
Yep.
you get to know just so much.
Yeah.
When you're playing an instrument, you're thinking about chords and like transitions and like builds and all that. But when you are playing with people, there's a completely different side you get to see because you're playing, so your guard is down.
Yeah.
Your brain is functioning differently, your body's moving, and you get to see how competitive you are, how kind you are, how patient you are, how passionate you are. So I try to do as much as I can things outside of Sunday mornings that allow our team to just connect with each other, because I know that's what brings people together. It's not just, yeah, worship is awesome and playing music is awesome,
Mm.
but really what brings us closer and getting to know each other is what happens outside of that.
Yeah.
So
And really like as worship leaders, as
yeah,
worship pastors, that's kind of our job too,
that's
right?
right.
Not just
Yes,
producing the music, but
that's right.
you
Yes.
want to create a community. And I love, like, I got a taste of that last October. What month is it? Yeah. October
Yes.
when we had one church,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
So
Yes.
the previous one had been here, and so we did it kind of based on our schedule.
That's right.
But
Yes.
then
Yeah.
this time
Good
we
call.
did it at your church, and so it took on the flavor how you put rehearsals together. And what I
Mm.
loved was getting a taste of that because there were like 2 more rehearsals than I'm used to doing.
Oh, fair. Yes.
And so
Yes.
you
Yeah.
talk about like the
Monochronic. Yes.
monochronic culture. Totally, that's how Becky and I kind of do it, because it's like how little can we do so that we can disrupt the lives of our people
Oh, fair.
less,
Yeah.
so that we can make a way for them to be involved. So we usually do like one practice,
Yes.
and it's usually right before or a couple days before. But we had where we were in you guys' green room, just in a circle, right? And that was
Yes.
really cool. And then we played and worshiped, but we talked through the songs, and then yet after that we had a full run through, and then we had the night out, and that was really cool. I
Yes.
loved
Yes.
because then I got to know Evan a lot more,
Yes. That's right.
because
Yes.
I'd
Yes.
never met him before. But then instead of just being like, hey, I'm Joel, hey, I'm Evan, all right, let's play,
Yes.
we got to chat, we got to hang, and it was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I love that a lot. And you even spoke to that just a few minutes ago. You said like you guys choose less rehearsals to not have to like compromise people, and like you want to serve them well, right? And like
Yeah.
not get the burnout or anything.
Yeah.
So I think the intention is still good, right? To me, it all comes down at the end of the day, there has to be sacrifice in some way. And I think to me, because of how I grew up, yeah, there is always something we're going to have to sacrifice to get the ultimate goal we want.
Yeah.
And because of how I grew up, I'm okay sacrificing extra work hours or like, extra commitments or things that seem amazing for the sake of like, oh, let's just connect, because this will actually produce something even bigger than, than avoiding avoiding just that extra time that I know I'm taking you away from your family. But obviously, it has to be a balance. I always tell people like learning about monochronic and polychronic cultures has how, and I'm still studying this a little more, but my understanding of what I've learned is that I think Jesus wants us to be in the middle, because Jesus was very good at, like, he had a plan. There is no way he was just like, let's show up here, let's see who shows up today for a miracle. Like, no, like Jesus had a plan. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew what he knew what he came to do.
Yeah.
Uh, he knew his power. He knew the people that were around him, but he had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
But he also allowed for interruptions to happen in his life, where like, oh, he's walking and he knew where he was going, but suddenly he feels this woman touching the
Same
garment.
story. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's not trying to be like, lady, I have a commitment here. Sorry, I'm going to have to head out. He's like, he stopped in the middle of the crowd as the disciples are like, hello, we have to head out. And he's like, no. This is an interruption that I need to pay attention to. And, I'm calling it interruption because it disrupts our schedules. But I think as followers of Jesus, I believe that Jesus wants us to be in the middle, where like, because with polychronic cultures, you also normally tell me, hey, see you at 10. And I might be like, sorry, I was making breakfast and I was having an amazing time cooking. And I just, we got to enjoy time and enjoy the quality of the time. And I show up at 12. Well, that's now dishonoring for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so then there is a level to that.
Yeah.
But there's also a level to this where you are like, we're having a great conversation and you feel like maybe like you are to pray for this person, but you're like, you know what? I want to get home and like get my massage. Like
Yeah.
both of them have like a limit.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning in my life right now, God, what does it look like to be in the middle, where like, yeah, I want to have a plan, and also I want to be flexible, because that's when I look at the scripture, you model that. Like, you were walking in the streets, you were going somewhere, and then you see Zacchaeus, and you
Yeah.
were like, hey, I want to come over to your place. As people are like, wait, hold on, like, we don't hang out with this guy. Like, that's not what you did. Like, no, this is why I came. And so I'm learning, Jesus, what does it look like to be in the middle? Because the reality is we can point out all the negative things that we want, or we see from a culture, but that will be dismissing what Jesus came to do. Because in every culture, if all cultures together represent God's kingdom, that means there is something about God to see in every culture as well. And so
that's good.
When I moved to the US, the first time I was just looking at the negative. I was like, man, people don't say hi. Like, they don't hug you. They don't say what they're feeling. They always have a timeline. And then I had to realize, wait, but they are very present when they are with you. And then people here, and like, you don't see them, like, because they're so busy, they are not spending time talking about other people all the time. They're also very organized. They like order. They are not just playing with their feelings or like, playing with their emotions. They are like really like organizing what they do. They like to work hard. So, I started to realize, okay, Lord, will you give me your perspective so I can see these people in this culture like you see it? And I've been able to learn so much once I changed my worldview in that sense. And so there is so much to learn from every culture.
Yeah.
And so
I love that. That's a really good point. Are you a fan of, or like, are you understanding of the Enneagram and all that?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got really into Enneagram a while ago.
Yeah.
But it's basically, there's like 9 different personality
Yes, that's
types.
right. Yes.
And they're all kind of intertwined, yada, yada. But I really like what this one author, Ian Cron, said, in that basically, like, there's no right one, but they're all somewhat a reflection of Christ.
Yeah. Yes.
And like Christ reflected all of those in some sort of way. And he's the only perfect person. He's the only
That's
perfect
right.
one. And
Yes.
so if you get them all together, but I think that's really good, learning that everything has something to offer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny. You very much, I mean, this is the environment and society that I've grown up in.
That's right.
So
Yes. And
that's how
which
I
makes
think.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so without being rude, like my thought is like, well, of course, that's how we're supposed to do things. But knowing that my way isn't the only right way is really good, and there's much to be learned. How do you then? So as a worship pastor, how do you, or rather, I'm sure you did differently 7 years ago, you said?
Yes. Yes.
How did you, what am I asking? Tell me the progression of learning how to balance those mono versus polychronic in worship leading. Because being at, like, because we're a flavor of CTK as well.
Yes, that's right.
There's a bit of a time limit, right? And if you
Yes,
have
that's right.
multiple services, I can't just have this song go on for 15 minutes.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's right.
How do you? Was there a point where that really hit you?
100%. Yes. Yes. Of course.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So it was, yes, obviously one of the few places where I realized I experienced this outside of relationship was during worship. And I thought to myself all the time, I was like, these people, they don't know how to worship. Yeah, they don't know how to worship. Like, they don't know what it is to be with God. They don't know. And it was very hard for me. It was honestly, it became very frustrating for a while. And then I had to just really, like, honestly, like, allow God to reshape my thinking, right? Because all of our behaviors don't come just out of the blue. They come because of our thinking.
Yeah.
And I had to learn from the Lord, how do you see these people? Because I cannot lead people that I don't love. It's very hard to lead people that you don't love. And if you could lead them, but you're probably not going to lead them well. So I had to ask and allow God to help me see people how he saw them. Like, Lord, what is it different? Like, this people, the way people act and like responding in worship is not just out of the blue. There is a reason why they worship this way. Not that one is bad or not, not that it's bad, it's just different. And I want to understand why. And so it just started a process for me where I had to just have different conversations with God and allow him to teach me, hey, how do you see this? Like, this is why people do this thing. This is why they behave this way. This is why they think about it in this way. And so I started approaching worship a little bit different, where I realized, you know what, I cannot depend on Sunday morning to be my worship time. I have to do this at home. Like, I cannot be mad that we didn't do many joyful songs today when I came to church to party, to celebrate what God is doing, and then you didn't do it. Then that's boring. No, that I realized that's not it. Like, if that's what my soul needs or what I want to experience, I can experience that at home. So what I started to do for myself is I was at home and I will play upbeat songs from my country, and I started to worship. And I'll just be in my room dancing around, like, say, and I still do it. Like, sometimes I'll play, like, he picked me up, turned me around, and I'll be in my room just like worshiping and like jumping around and like dancing. And then I will do worship on my own, playing keys or playing acoustic, and I will go for as long as I wanted to. And in that moment where I was lingering in that worship time, and at the same time asking the Lord, help me to lead your people in worship, I think that's when things started to shift, because then I was showing up to church not expecting things from people and just letting God do his thing. So I will show up to church on Sundays and we'll start worshiping and, leading people where I thought the Lord was leading me to, to do so, and saying what I thought he was saying in the room for the specific situation, or like what he was doing in the room, knowing that, okay, if we only have 15 minutes, okay, Lord, I trust that you can do it in 15 minutes. Not saying that that's like, it's okay, like God can move in 5 minutes. I believe God can move in 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I started to show up to church differently. Like, I wasn't expecting things from people. I was like, Lord, I'm just going to expect that you will move and that you will help me in like leading people to your presence. While at the same time teaching them, hey, like, what is actually worship? And why do we raise our hands? I feel like there are certain things that we sometimes expect from people coming to church, when the reality is they probably don't know. Or maybe they are uncomfortable because they were raised that if you move your hips at church, that's sin.
Yeah.
Or like, that's not okay. Or like, some people are going to look at you weird. So I had to be curious instead of judgmental. And that took some time. But as the more I was curious and the more I was showing up with that kind of mindset where I'm like, you know what, I already worship at home. I'm not showing up on Sunday mornings as this is my personal worship time. I'm just showing up to lead people into a space where I've already been, which helped me lead differently.
Okay, so when you're going through this battle and allowing God to change your heart, this was as a worship leader, not
Yes,
just
that's right.
as,
Yeah.
as an attendant.
Yes,
Wow.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah, that's another layer of tough too, right? Because
Yes.
not only is the worship band not serving you, if you have the wrong thinking,
Yeah.
but if you are the leader and you're constrained, yeah, that's tough too. So you were going through that
Mhm.
as a leader as well.
That's right. Yes.
Wow, that's so good, and I want everybody to hear that. I think that's so good that we can worship on our own too.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah,
good
that's right.
point.
Yes. Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes, yeah, because it is true. Like, we can often expect the worship leader to do that job, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. The worship leader is there for a reason,
true.
and obviously we are there to, like, help people enter
Yeah.
in that way. But God is not expecting that you wait till Sunday morning so you can worship Him.
Yeah.
Like, God wants us to have that moment every single day with Him, and then Sunday morning should be just a combination of all of us coming together, broken, ashamed, unashamed, like. And now we get to celebrate and bring that together. This life that we are already living with Him and with our community and with our passions and in our workplaces as we're, being who He's made us to be. Sunday mornings, okay, we get to bring all that together. And so it took me a long time to understand that. But like I said, it changed the way I saw God move in those spaces
Yeah.
that we're, like I said, we're just different. And I think that's the thing when we're learning about different cultures. They are not bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
And when we approach them with a God worldview, we will enter in differently. We
Mm.
will enter in not trying to judge or trying to be like, why are they not doing that? We'll enter and be like, okay, Lord, help me see the way you see and
Yeah.
help me to be curious. And so, because like I said, even there are times like where even at a church, people at first they had that you wouldn't see people like just moving around and dancing during worship nights. You will see them like clapping their hands a little bit, and then they kind of stop. And then I understood. One of the first things that I learned is like, oh wait, dancing is not a thing in the U.S. Like people like
Mm.
they're not born like expecting that they have to dance. In my
Yeah.
culture, if you don't dance or you don't have rhythm, like you're gonna get bullied. Like that's how
They
that's
send you
how
to the U.S. Go
oh
over
my
there when they
gosh,
don't
oh my
dance.
gosh. Not like that, but you know what I mean? Like no, you get teased by your cousins and like that's a normal
Oh,
thing for
funny.
us. Like people teach you like, come on, you don't have rhythm. You're the person in the family that doesn't have rhythm. Come on. Because it's embedded in the culture. Like if you go to Brazil, like same thing, like, since very young, like music is a huge deal, dancing, playing, tambourine, all these things like
Mm.
that's so embedded in the culture. But here in the US, like there is, that's not a thing that you're expected to do. Like some it's okay that, it's not like a part of the culture. And so it makes sense that the songs are different, the music styles are different. When
Yeah.
you go to my country, like we open with salsa. Like that's how we open a service with like Christian salsa or like merengue, like different styles that are that allow people to express themselves in the way that they already do outside of the church because that's embedded in our culture.
Yeah. So one thing that I often find, you probably find as well, there are when we're looking for, because we're always looking for new songs
Oh,
for
for
church,
yes,
right?
yes.
Something that's fresh and new, or like something that the congregation is used to. It always seems like there is a lot more slow, long, quiet
Yes,
songs than there
yes,
are
that's right.
fast
Yeah.
ones. Do you find that in Latin culture as well, like in Venezuela?
No, like
Is it
no,
like
we have
opposite?
we have like thousands of variety of options
Interesting.
for upbeat songs. But to your point, when we're talking about monochronic and polychronic, like
Yeah,
we actually need both. We need the songs that are to party and we need the songs that are to express just our gratitude and that help us to
absolutely.
linger and be quiet. Like as like in my culture, people talk a lot all the time. Like we like talking, expressing ourselves. Like we, we say
Oh,
what we're thinking.
maybe I'm Venezuelan.
Oh my gosh,
My
there we
wife
go.
would say
Hey,
maybe.
there we
Yeah.
go. Right? But there are times, and that's good, but there are times to be quiet.
Mm.
Like we don't have to say everything that we're thinking, right?
Yeah.
And, so like I said, there is a like, you know what I mean? Like this is just
Oh
a
yeah.
small example of something that I have learned from this culture. We're like, oh yeah, there is time for both. But like we both, like you and I both have to have the same approach. Where like, you're not going to come to my church and be like, oh, you guys are moving way too much. Like this is so many happy songs. What's going on? Like, wait, like you have to understand the culture. Like let's not just approach it like, why is it like that? Not be like, oh wait, like there is a reason why this is happening. And once we understand why, this makes sense, of course. So like at our church, there are times where I treat it like sometimes people just don't know. And I explain them,
Mm.
hey, you already raise your hands when you're at a football game and you're shouting so freaking loud for somebody that has no idea that you exist. Yet that doesn't stop you. You're still gonna shout and you're still gonna raise your hands because you are cheering on for this, for this team or for this person that did this amazing thing. Yet God, who gave his son to die for you so you could be saved, so you could have access to his presence, so you could be friends with him, so you could experience freedom.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he deserve your shout, your dances, you raising your hands? Oh my gosh, he deserves even more than that. But unless we make that connection, we wouldn't know because we think that sometimes God is this God that wants reverence.
Yeah.
And he wants us to be like serious and like we have to, like bow our heads and like, our hands has to be down. We cannot have hats. Like, and I understand that there are things that we do because we treat them as sacred and we want to be
Mm.
respectful, but that also has a level. Like at the same time, God is the most fun person ever, and he's the most joyful. He talks about himself as a joyful God. That
Yeah.
means he also probably parties very hard. So I have to. I've been trying to do the best that I can to teach our people slowly that hey, you already do this for
Mm.
other people. Why not do it for the one that really deserves that and has given you everything,
Yeah.
so you could like have breath in your lungs and
Yeah.
have a relationship with him. But I've been starting to slowly like teach these things that might sound as basic, but probably people just don't know or they were taught differently.
Mm.
So yeah,
I love how you said that too about the sports thing. Somebody who doesn't even know you exist.
yeah,
But when we're talking about worshiping the Lord, like he knows you.
that's
Like
right.
he
Yes,
knew me when I was in my mother's womb. He knows the hairs on my head. Yeah. which are
Yes,
less and
that's right.
less. Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
some
such good.
people like you pay $7,000 to go to Taylor Swift concert, and there you are like shouting and like screaming all the songs that they're it's awesome, amazing artists, and that's great. Like do that, celebrate, like
Yeah.
have fun, express yourself, but don't hold back when you are in the house of the house of God. When he's like so ready to enter in and move in the room, don't hold back. That's the moment to actually like turn it up a little more and just give everything to him. So
That's good.
yeah.
I like how you say that too. That maybe it's not so much an issue that we do express ourselves in some places.
Yes, yes,
Go ahead and express yourself because
yes.
you're a unique person that God made, right? And
That's
so
right.
if you love T Swift, go there, express yourself,
Yes.
within the scripture and all that, right?
Yeah, yes.
But
Huh.
but then yeah, it's not bad that happens. What is bad is when we don't express ourselves to Jesus,
Yes.
to God. Yeah. And that's gonna look different.
It will. Yes, right.
We like that's what we need to do. And that's our job as worship leaders,
That's right.
right? Is to help coach people with that. Like let's sing of the greatness of our God. And this is
Yeah.
why. So good.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so take me back a bit because I didn't meet you years ago. I met you for the first time not at Kohl's, but at Ace.
Oh, yes, Ace
Right? Just
Hardware.
around
Yes.
just on the
Around
other
the
side of our
corner.
shopping center
Yes.
here. How,
Good memories.
yeah, every once in a while I do. How did that come about? And where was that in
Yeah.
your timeline?
Yes. So, like, see, I had probably like 6 jobs before I got my job at the church, and I believe that my dad was friend with somebody from Ace Hardware at the time.
Okay.
Well, they're still friends, but my dad worked for a long time here in Linden with landscaping.
Okay.
And so he started to meet a lot of people. My dad is a very friendly person, and he doesn't care that he doesn't speak English. He will find a way to like just connect with you. Like my parents are proof to me that language can be a barrier or it can also be a space to lean in. And
Mm.
so because my dad will like pull out his phone and like just Google Translate or try to like use his hands, like there are so many things that he will do to still connect with people. Like that never stopped him. So
Your dad doesn't speak English.
uh, no, I mean at this point he understands more. Like
Oh, okay.
he will say hello, how are you doing? The restroom. Like he will say a few things,
Okay,
but I
but
want to
not
say,
fluent like
but
you.
not fluent. Yes.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
But
cool.
at the time, imagine like even me, I wasn't able to understand much. So yeah, at the time my dad knew nothing at all, and so he will do the best that he could to like pick up words and like just use Google Translate or communicate with people. So he ended up becoming friends with somebody that worked at that knew the owner at Ace Hardware.
Okay.
And so at the time, my dad knew that I was trying to find something else, and we moved to Linden. So I ended up just having an interview, and they hired me. So I was a
Ah.
cashier there for a while. I can't remember for how long, but it was a while.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh,
yes,
fun.
and loved it. Yeah, they were just always so friendly, great community, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, there is a couple who I work with at Ace Hardware who they retired a few years ago, and they still come see me very often
The
at
Jagger?
church. No, as Navies, Ramona, and Harlan.
Oh,
Harley, yes.
yeah. I just saw Harley on the way
Yes,
over
that's
here.
right.
I saw
Yes,
him
there we go.
on his motorcycle today.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So like Ramona and Harley are always so
Oh,
we
they're
always
so
stay in
great.
touch. But like I made really good friends all my time there. So
That's cool.
yes.
So you start serving at CTK on the
Yes,
worship
yes,
team,
yes.
and Ryan's the worship leader.
Yes.
How did that get into like? At what point did
Mhm.
that become your job? Did you get
Okay.
hired to do that?
Yeah, so I was singing there like background vocals for a bit and in the choir a few times and maybe like a year or less than a year me being at TTK Bellingham. The worship leader at Christ the King Ferndale at the time had to leave and they asked me and other two people, would you guys like to be a part of like a worship internship while at the same time be leading on Sunday mornings? So they were trying to hire somebody, but then they realized, well, we also need to find a way to develop new
Mm.
worship leaders. And so I don't know who recommended me, but somebody did. And so they were like, oh, like this person I think will be a good. So they asked me and I said, yeah, I'll do it. And so they said, okay, your commitment is you have to be at CTK Ferndale for at least a year, like attending there. Like you'll be leading worship as well. We'll develop you, teach you about leadership, worship, song selection, all these things. And so I said yes. So I was there for like a year. And after that year, they said, well, your internship is over. It was an awesome year of so much learning. I learned, honestly, a lot of things. But
Mm.
at the end, they were like, you can go back to CTK Bellingham. But the difference between a bigger church and a smaller church is that the smaller church, I got to meet everybody so
Mm.
quickly to the point that we became like family. And so at that point, I said, can I actually stay here? He said, yeah, of course, you can stay here. And within a few months, they offer if I wanted to be the worship leader at CTK Ferndale. So,
Oh, cool. It's
mhm.
funny. Adam Fox is the
Yes,
pastor there now.
he's my
Yeah,
worship.
he
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
here last week. He
You
and
know
his
that.
brother Andy. Yeah, because
Okay.
I go way back with them to our my church right before here, so 21 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we were
that's
talking
amazing.
ministry from back then. That's
I
funny. Yeah.
love Adam Fox. Like he
Oh
will
yeah,
help you hype you up about anything. Like he's
yeah,
such an energetic, excited person.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's kind of how I started. So
Okay. So then how did you move on or move on? How
yes,
did you move then from CTK Ferndale
yes,
to worship pastor
yeah.
at
Well,
CTK?
I think being there for maybe like 3 years or so. At one point, I told the pastor, "Hey, like," so I was working at Ace Hardware, and then also working at part time as worship leader. And then an opportunity came to me where I could go back to college. I was just the Lord just provided finances for
Mm.
myself, and so I decided to go back to college. But I realized as I was looking at my calendar and my time, I realized there is no way I can work at Ace Hardware, do worship leading, do school, and be a healthy human being.
Yeah.
So I told myself something has to go.
You'd have to be super, super polychronic then. Like, you have to be,
Yes,
like,
that's
super regimented
monochronic.
and
Yes.
yeah.
And so I told myself, you know what, one is gonna have to go. And so I
Mm.
was like, okay, well, like Ace Hardware, I was working more hours and I still needed finances. So I was like, okay, I won't be able to work as a worship leader at CTK Friend anymore. I still help out once a month, like leading, but not like managing the team and the scheduling and all that. So I talked to the pastor and I said, hey, I explained everything. And he said, okay, well, I want to support you. So do what you need to do. And I think he communicated that to the worship director at the time at CTK Bellingham. And within a week, I got a phone call and he said, hey, we heard that you are doing this and this. And I said, yeah. He's like, what if we were to create a worship role for you where you can work with us full time? And I said, I mean, that's my dream. That will be a dream. So, yes. And so, honestly, I didn't hear from them for like a month. And so I thought that's not happening. But they called me after a month and they were like, no, we've created a worship. I think it was, I can't remember at the time, I think it was worship creative or something like that. I can't remember what that role was position for you. And so I said yes. It was perfect. Like all that they said, I was like, oh, this is right up my alley, and there's still opportunity of like development and growth as well in this. Great. So I took that job position, and after like a year or so, then also training and development, then I became the worship pastor. So
And that was fairly recent, wasn't it? The last 2 years or so when you got
yes, I think it's
ordained?
been like I think it's been 2 years. I think 2 years maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
You know how at one point you stop counting things, but
Oh, yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
been 2 years or something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I think it was about the same time that
Oh, it's been no, you know what? It's probably been like 3 years now.
wow,
Yeah, like 3 years now.
awesome.
Yeah, yes.
I think I remember it 'cause I think I saw it on Facebook. I remember that,
Oh, yes, fair.
yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes.
I was gonna oh, no, I already asked that question. Thought I had another question. Oh, well,
No,
probably edit
that's
this
okay.
part out, but
That's
yeah.
okay.
What would you and well, tell me, like, what is serving as worship pastor,
Yeah,
given everything that you've learned? What are a few of your favorite things to do?
yes. I always tell people this when they've asked me before. My favorite thing is just to get to meet with people.
Mm,
So it's not even, yeah, oftentimes people think because I'm a worship pastor, my favorite is like leading worship. And I mean, I love doing that, but my favorite thing is when I get to see with people one on one.
mm,
So like the discipleship part of it, because part of my role or what I get to do with my job is I get to meet one on one with my worship team members, or literally anybody that comes my way who wants to be on the worship team, but maybe they don't have everything ready to be able to join a team, or they don't feel like they're ready yet, but they would like to in the future, or just because sometimes people. When people see you on a stage, they are drawn to you sometimes. And
mhm,
so people ask to meet. And so it's just getting to meet with people one on one and getting to hear their stories, getting to hear where they're at. I read this on a book a while ago where it says people, psychologists will have less work if people had really good friends.
mm.
That doesn't mean like counseling is awesome. Like that doesn't mean I'm not trying to diminish how it's so
No,
helpful. Like
yeah,
I want to become a counselor myself. So I'm like, I want that job. Like, right. But I think the idea of like if we had good people around us that will listen to us and sit with us and not just have fun with us, but also call us out when we need to be called out and challenge us and like speak truth to us, things will be different. So I think having the opportunity to sit down with people and getting to hear the stories and getting to offer from what the little bit that I know, like, hey, how do you overcome this? Or like, how can you
mm,
walk out of this with Jesus? And like, how can you, you know, learn more about yourself or even about God in the situation that you're in right now? That's probably my favorite part.
that's
So
cool.
getting to sit with people and do some kind of discipleship that has nothing to do with Sunday morning. So,
Mm, I love that.
mhm.
I would share really with that. I'm kind of the
Yeah,
same. Like
okay, yeah.
I love playing, I love leading, but really what I love too about the leading is the connecting with people.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'll tell people often. So I'm from here. I remember in our worship center. I remember my mom taking us grocery shopping because that was Ennen's grocery store.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. All
So,
right.
and my office is in where Sports World was, where I would buy my school bag and my posters and all those things. So yeah.
Okay,
So
I love
I'm
it.
born, raised here, and I love connecting with the people, and I love getting to connect on a deeper level, like on
Yeah.
a spiritual sense, in helping people in their walk with Jesus, with people who I've grown up with, and people
Yes,
who I kind
yes.
of have some built-in background with. Like, oh, I know you, so I know
Mhm.
there's a bit more that I can speak into, maybe, and I love that too.
Yes,
It's
yes. No, it's my favorite.
I feel like that's necessary for any sort of pastor to have,
Yes,
whether it's
yes,
a lead pastor or small groups pastor, worship pastor, but a passion for the people, right?
yes,
Knowing
yes.
them because we're not leading songs, we're leading people.
That's right. Yes, yes. No, it makes a difference. So yeah,
So good.
it's my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite.
So one last question for you.
Okay.
So you've been doing this about 7 years or so. What
Yes.
is something that today you would say to your 7 year ago self as a
Okay.
worship leader? What is something that you've learned that you know now that you didn't know that you would wish you would have known back then?
Yes. I will say be curious. I think showing up to spaces with curiosity has changed a lot of my approach, not just to God, but
Mm,
to my work and to people. So being curious, like never be quick to make assumptions or jump to conclusions. The verse that I pray for myself the most is be quick to listen, slow to speak. Because of where I'm from, like fast to speak. Like be quick to speak. That's our thing.
yeah.
And so I think the more and more that I get to do this job and the more I get to learn, just have a relationship with God, the more that I realize the importance of being quick to listen and less slow to speak. And for that, we have to be curious. We have to tell ourselves, hey, hold on a second. There is another side to this story that you got to hear. And so just being curious. And I will say the other thing is this one took me a little longer to learn, even though I come from a country where people express themselves, is bring everything to God. And when I say
Mm,
everything is everything, like oftentimes in my 20s, I think I wouldn't tell God I'm so sad because
mm,
I was like, no, like I know the answer. God is going to be like, just be joyful or like, come on, just come to me. And so oftentimes I restrain myself from bringing everything, not knowing at the time that that was part of the everything. I think at the time I thought I was being honest,
mm,
but then I realized, oh, I'm hiding I'm not really bringing everything if I'm not telling God how I'm really feeling. And I
mm.
think that's hard to happen during COVID.
Yeah.
So during
Yeah.
COVID, when like a lot of my friends moved back to their states with their parents or like closer to their families, and I realized, oh my God, it was very hard for me because after I built this community of people and like we're having something so good going on with the community, we're building a relationship, growing with each other, learning from each other. I feel like I was left alone. And so I think that really like created an opportunity for me to be like, Lord, this is how I feel. But the more I get to bring my everything to God, not just how the good that I feel, like how much I love him or how good he is to me, but the more that I am like, Lord, why are you doing this? Or God, I don't understand. Or like, God, I feel so sad. God, can you be my friend today? The more I bring my everything, meaning everything, the more I realize that I am able to learn like wisdom and kindness and love and like power because there is power like like when we bring everything to God just shows his power in a different way and like we also
Mm.
take that power off of the enemy like when we
Mm.
hide things that's when the enemy can be like oh
Yes.
okay
Yeah.
uh, or even ourselves we do that to ourselves too but when we say it out loud like that power goes away and we get a different kind of power where like we lay down things to God and now he's back in control because we have allowed ourselves to release that and so I would say being curious, yeah, more quick to listen, slow to speak, and then just really like bring everything to God. Even the things that you think He's not gonna like, He'll like it. Like He'll like you bringing everything to Him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's so good. It reminds me of Matthew 11, 28 and 29,
Mm,
30, where Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weak and
yes.
heavy burdened, and I'll give you rest."
Yes,
Yeah.
and he means that. But
Yeah.
I think oftentimes for me, even though I grew up, because I think maybe because I grew up as a Christian, I can think, no, it's okay. Like God is always good. Like He didn't mean to do this. Like yet God wants you to tell Him how you're really feeling. And me not saying anything because of how I think He will feel is me coming in with a preconception or how I think God will respond.
Yeah.
And God is so big. Like there
Yeah.
are many things that I don't still we're yet to learn about Him. So
Yeah.
don't rob yourself of the opportunity to get to know more of God.
That's good. And there's another aspect too of sharing, right? Whether we're sharing with the Lord or with sharing with other people as
Mm,
well. God, God already knows, but he also knows that it's good for me to share.
That's right. Yes.
Because there's a way that we shed light on the things that we're hiding by just keeping them
Yes.
out of our mouth sometimes,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
so good.
Recently, I
Yeah.
was reading this verse. I can't remember the verse right now. I'll send it to you later. But yeah, I can't remember where it is. But when it says meditate in God's word day and night, where
Mhm.
David was saying like I'm meditating His words day and night. There are a few Bible verses that say quote that way. So I've been getting better at like looking at the original meaning because I have to remember like the Bible was not written in English. It was not written in Spanish. Hebrew and Greek. So I always want to go to the root of the word because there are things in English that I won't be able to fully translate exactly in Spanish. I have to find sometimes different words to communicate the same message,
Yeah.
but there is not a translation for that specific word.
Yeah.
And I realized at one point there has to happen the same thing in Greek and Hebrew. Like whoever translated it had to find what's the closest word to this.
Yeah.
And I was reading that verse that says meditate in God's word day and night. And where I found out is that meditate is the closest word to the original word that actually means to ponder out loud. So when we think about meditate, we think about being quiet and just going, and just like letting that, be in our heads and like, yes, all right. But the original word, what it actually says is like, say it out loud. Like when you ponder these things, say it out loud because it is different when I'm just thinking, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall lack nothing, than when I actually say out loud, the Lord is my shepherd. Therefore, I lack nothing of. Like it does something different in our brains, which translates different into our bodies.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, Lord, yeah, that makes way more sense.
That's good.
So it makes a difference when you just say it out loud than when you just keep it inside.
There's power in that. That's so good. Well, Eve, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Rich discussion. This is awesome.
I love getting to talk with you.
Same, yeah. And
in general,
I love that you, whenever we have some sort of idea or whenever we reach out to you, you're always, I think there's maybe one time. Oh, I think it was the Church at the Fair last year where you weren't able to, right?
I know.
You're always like, yes, I'm in, except for, that one.
Believe me, I was so bummed. I love getting to, well, you and Becky are just such very genuine people. Like, I never show up getting to work with you guys and feel like, okay, we're just doing 1, 2, 3. It always feels like, oh yeah, we're here to do a work that we've been called to do. And also like, we get to partner together and we get to be friends and we get to have the same heart and like share it together. And so also I'm a fan of Becky too. I'm a fan of you, but also I'm a fan of Becky.
Same. Yeah.
I think she's incredible. So thank you so much. I love getting to share with you guys. And I know we're going to be at the fair this year.
Yeah. Church at the Fair, August 16. It's coming up.
Oh, yes. Looking forward to it, as always.
I'm super excited. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. As normal, if you have thoughts and opinions about our thoughts and opinions or just questions, please write them in the comments. We actually read them. But until next time, no pressure, no homework. Just keep doing your best to live out what it looks like and talk out what Scripture is about following Jesus. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.